Hey family, welcome back to our channel. This is Dad Said, Conversations with Our Father, and I am your sister in Christ Jesus, Juanita, back to share another conversation that I've had with our Heavenly Father. Okay, so this video is kind of like a follow-up to the prior video about It's Chess Not Checkers. So the whole conversation I was having with Dad really centered around three words that he gave me. In the last video, I think he just wanted me to keep it high level and give an overview of really the point he was trying to get across about spiritual laws and how important they are. But in this video, I get to give the detail, more of the detail of what he gave me regarding specifically promises being manifested in our lives. So we were talking, really it's strategy. And that was the word that kept coming out, that he kept saying, that kept resonating with me, is that, you know, you really have to understand that there is a strategy to this thing. There's a strategy to promises being manifested, to you seeing the things that are on your heart, the promises that I've made in the earth realm. Okay, and so the three words that he gave me were when we were having this discussion were position, time or timing, and belief. Okay, and I'm just going to look at some of the notes. So this is the detail, more of the detail. Those three words are details behind the strategy. Okay, and so I asked for more clarity regarding that, and he basically said, you know, the fulfillment of his promises in my life, it does require effort from me. So most of us have probably heard the verse, you know, faith without works is dead. And we hear people a lot of times teaching about how, you know, we have to move, we have to do something. Like, God is not going to do everything. He's just not going to do the things that we can do. He's just not. He's just not. And, you know, a lot of us, I believe as Christians, we have this mindset of, well, he can do whatever, whenever he wants to. He's God. You know, he can do whatever. Now, again, there are some things that we cannot do, okay? We are not God. We cannot do some things, but the things that we can do, it is up to us to do, because he's not going to do it. And while he can do whatever or whenever, he can do whatever, whenever he wants to, technically, because he's God, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that because, you know, it only goes to a certain extent, because he won't go against his own word, right? So just think about like free will. You know, as much as he wants us to choose life, like he literally told us, choose life or death, and if you don't know which one to choose life. Like he's telling us, choose life. He's not going to choose life for us, even though he wants us to choose life. He wants life for us, but he will not choose life for us because he gave us the ability to choose, and he's not going to go against that. He's just not. So if we choose death, then he's going to be like, okay, I hate that for you, but I can't do anything because I gave you the ability to choose. I told you I would give you free will, and that is what I'm going to do. He's not a man that he should lie, right, family? So, you know, that's who he is. He's not just going to do it for us. So back to position, timing, and belief. So talking to him more about it, I was like, okay, Dad, I hear you. And that makes sense. You know, just high level, surface level, that makes sense. Position, timing, and belief. He said, yes, you need to be in the right position at the right time, but you also need to believe that you will see the promise that has been given to you, that I've given to you, that you have seen in your imagination, that you have asked for, or what have you, right? And so I said, okay, Dad, I need an example. Okay, first thing, I'm going to tell y'all this. I asked for an example in my own life, okay, where this has happened. And he gave it to me because I was just like, I don't think this ever happened. Like, what? And he immediately, something happened, or not something happened. He dropped it in my spirit, an example of this. And I'll tell you about my example later. But he also gave me 2 other examples in the Word where, it was all about position, timing, and belief. The entire Bible is full of examples where people had to be in the right place at the right time and have the belief that they would be successful in that thing, or they would see the manifestation of God's glory in order for the promise to come to pass. It's all throughout the Bible. I would venture to say just about everybody in there who was successful, on the Lord's side, everyone on the Lord's side, had that happen, could see that God's glory manifested in their lives. But the 2 examples he gave me, the first example was Esther, right? So I encourage everybody to read the entire book of Esther. It's not long. It's only 10 chapters, and there's so much revelation in that book. So I encourage everyone to read it. But for Esther, if we think about first, we don't have to go position first. Timing. Let's talk about the timing first. So Esther became queen after the king put away his wife. Like, Esther had to be like the perfect time. Esther had to be, of age to be married to the king, but the king had to actually put away his queen. And for me, in my mind, it's just like, that is very rare to me. I would believe that would be a rare thing for a king to put away his queen just for disrespect, basically. Because his queen disrespected him in front of people. And so he was like, yeah, no, you're not going to be queen anymore. And so it was just like, wow, like Esther was, of age to step into that position, but it had to be the right time. Like, Esther could have been, a baby at that time, or she could have been an old lady at that time, but she wasn't. So it was all about perfect timing, and a king had to put away his wife at that time, okay? And then after that, she got into a position to be chosen, right? She had to go with the other maidens when he was, searching for another queen. She was put in a group with, other females that were, in contention or, competing for the position of queen with her, right? So she had to be in position. What if Esther would have said, no, I don't want to go, or he's not going to choose me, or it don't make sense, for me to go up here? I mean, the possibility that he'd choose me. Like, what if she used her mouth to not place her in that position, right? Or she drug her feet, or she did not, what if she said, well, I'll think about it, and maybe, give me a week to think about it. He could have picked his queen. Like, if she didn't go when it was time to go, he could have picked someone else. And then lastly, belief. It was the belief in that, there was a possibility for her that moved her to, I believe, to, go to where she needed to be, prepare herself for a year. And that's another thing. Esther had to be prepared to even see the king. So once she got to like one of the king's houses, she had to be prepared for a year before she even went in front of him, while other people were going before her, what have you, and they could have been picked, but she was in position at the right time. She spent the time. It took her a year. She could have gave up. She could have said, it's too long. This process is too much. I'm going back home. But she didn't. And I believe it was her belief that kept her there, that, I could be the next queen, and, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to go through this process and see what happens. I believe that this is a possibility for me. And lo and behold, she was queen. And also, fast forward to when she is actually queen, she's in the position as queen when there's a decree to harm, the Jews. She's in the right position. Then this decree comes down, right? The man who, raised her essentially is able to tell her, look, this is what's happening. And, her belief caused her to fast, and put herself in a situation that could have been deadly for her. But because she spent the time, fasting, praying, she was able to, her belief moved her to save her family and, the Jews. So that was one example. The next example that the Lord gave me was the woman with the issue of blood. We hear about her all the time. And I believe the Lord dropped this in my spirit because it is so profound. And again, it talks about position, timing, and belief, right? So here's another example of that. The woman, she had to get in position, okay? The word talks about, and I'm using her story from the book of Mark 5:24 through 34 tells that story, but she had to position herself in the crowd in a way that, she was able to actually touch Jesus, right? But it had to be the right time. It had to be when Jesus was passing through. What if, let's say, she said, well, I kind of heard Jesus was passing through, but I got this blood issue and I don't feel like going outside today. Maybe he'll still be here tomorrow or something. She would have missed out. She would have missed out on it. Or what if, she walked out, at the right time because he was passing through, but she saw the crowd and was like, I can't get through all them people. There's so many people and I guess I miss it. No, she positioned herself to be able to touch him. And I believe here in this example also that it was her belief that positioned her to do that, right? It was her belief that carried her, that caused her to press through the crowd. And it was her belief that said, I have to touch him in order to be healed, in order to be made whole. Belief moved her. Belief moved her out of the house. Belief moved her through the crowd at the right time. And she was made whole from what she did because she just had that, this is going to happen for me. She told herself, this is going to happen for me. Today is the day. Jesus coming through. I'm going to touch him. I'm going to be made whole. And I know it. And so this is what I'm going to do. And that is the same type of tenacity that we need to have when it comes to these promises being made manifest. Like, no matter what it looks like, no matter what somebody told me, going back to Esther, okay, regardless of the fact that I cannot go in to see the king without him calling me, because if I do, I could die. The punishment is death. It don't matter. It don't matter that that's a rule. I am going to get this done. I believe that this can be done, so I'm going to do it. The last example is my example. Okay. And I thought this was I was like, oh my goodness, Lord, that is so powerful. So this actually happened to me. This situation happened to me when I was probably about 20 years old. Okay. 20 years old. And just a little backstory. So I was working, I think I was in college too, and I had a job and I was working. I had my own place and stuff like that. And so, driving to work, driving home, or driving around the city or whatever, I would hear on the radio that there was a contest going on. So the local radio station had a contest for the week. And radio stations do this where they give away money or prizes or things like that. And so the radio station was giving away $100 every hour for that week from like 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. So all day, 5 days for that week, they were giving away money. And so I I'm sorry, my camera, I hit my cord. But anyway, so they were giving away money, and I was thinking to myself, every time I heard it on the radio, I was like, that would be so nice. That would be so nice to have, an extra $100. I'm 20, $100. I mean, even when you're not 20, $100 today. I mean, that's nice to have, right? Somebody just giving me like free money, I would want that. So I was thinking about how nice that is to have, and let's say it was like Friday. Okay, well, it was Thursday. I never entered the contest. Like, you had to do something. You had to go meet them wherever they were. If they were at a local business, you had to go meet them there and like put your name in a hat in order to win the money. And so even though I thought it was nice to have, I never met them, at the place or anything like that to put my name in. I was just like, whatever, I'm not going to do it. And so Thursday night, I went to sleep and I had a dream. I had a dream that I did go, that I met them at whatever place they were at, and I won $100. And I woke up that Friday. It was the last day of the contest. And for some reason, I was just like, I'm going to win the money. I'm going to win the money. Now, I don't even believe at that point in my life, I said, the Lord, you know what? Maybe I did, because I did have Jesus. And I probably did say the Lord's telling me to go get that money. But I was so confident after that dream. I saw it. I saw myself winning the money, and I was like, I'm going to win that money. So much so that as I was preparing to get ready to go, like, I did whatever I had to do during that day. And I remember I was about to walk out of the house. Maybe I had come back home from work or something like that, or school. And I was about to walk out of the house, and my mom called my cell phone. And she asked me, what was I doing? And I remember it just like yesterday. And I said, I'm about to walk out of the door and go win this money from the radio station. Like, I told her, I didn't say, try to win this money. I didn't say, hopefully win this money. I said, I am about to go win this money from the radio station. And she was like, oh, okay then. I was like, and I think that's when I said, the Lord showed it to me in a dream that I was going to win, and I'm going to go win. And she said, all right then. I don't know if she believed me or not, but I'm pretty sure I sounded convincing, because I was convinced I was going to win the money. And so I went to whatever business they were at, and y'all, it was the last hour of the drawing. I probably got there at like 4:30 on the Friday. Last day, last hour. I put my name in, and they called the last winner, and guess who it was? It was me. I won the $100. I really did. And the Lord was showing me in that example. He brought that to my remembrance to show me you had to be in position at the right time. If you did not go to the business, you wouldn't have gotten the money. If you would have showed up at 5:15 instead of 4:30 or whenever you showed up, you would have not gotten that money. And if you did not believe that you were going to get the money, you would have not gotten the money. But again, family, I believe it was my belief that positioned me at the right time. And in each of the examples, that's what I'm saying. It was the belief with the woman with the issue of blood that positioned her, that caused her to press, that caused her to touch Jesus at that right time. It was Esther's belief that caused her to go against, what it looked like on the outside, so that she could get in position at the right time and do what she needed to do for the kingdom. So yeah, that's what he was telling me, and I just want to make sure I read all my notes. So yeah, it was so profound when he dropped that back in my spirit. I was like, you're right. Because I believe that so strongly, it made me get my butt up, not, kick my feet up after work and just let it pass by. I believed it so strongly that I got up to make sure I was in time for the last drawing. And he showed me that, yeah, there it is. You got the money because you were there. And after that, after he showed me all that, it's like, wow, when things didn't work out for me in my life, it caused me to think about my position, the timing, and my belief. It caused me to start to reevaluate where I was, as far as like my thought process and like the things that were going on during that time when I didn't see things manifest the way that I thought they should. And this again goes back to the other video about spiritual laws. If our Father is telling me like, this is how it works, this is the law right here, you got to be in the right position at the right time, and you have to believe it in order for it to manifest. How many times when something didn't manifest, instead of carrying the confusion, like, I just don't know why that happened and I just don't understand. Now, I'm not saying we're going to understand everything, but I am just kind of reviewing the things that have happened in my life and saying, was I in the right position? Was it the right time? Did I believe? Did I truly believe? How did I, react? Like, how did I move during that time? Because how you react is, going to tell you whether or not you believe, right? If you're motivated to do it. And I know I talked about like having what you say, right? If you are speaking negative things, then you really don't believe. Like, you can't. And this is what we do. I've done it. I've done it before, say one thing. Oh yeah, I believe. And then a situation happens and everything that's coming out of my mouth says opposite. It says, I really don't believe. Because it's nothing like a situation or a circumstance that'll show you whether or not you truly believe. I think I heard someone say that the mouth betrays the heart, or the heart betrays the mouth, right? Like, what's really in your heart will come out of your mouth. It just will. It just will. What is really in your heart will come out of your mouth. So we have to be careful with what we say. We have to really evaluate those things, because it's a strategy out here, folks. It's strategy. And that's what Dad was talking to me about. So yeah, I'm going to play it back and be like, okay, in this situation where this thing didn't work out and it was kind of devastating for me, I felt like I believed, I was really holding on to it, but was I in the wrong position? Was it the wrong time for that to happen? And, honestly, when I think about it like that and I go back over it, if it was not an issue with my belief, wrong time, if it was not an issue of my belief and it was just the wrong time or wrong position, it gives me joy. And even if it was an issue of my belief, that also gives me joy, because it shows me, that we can potentially get a do-over here. We can potentially get a do-over here, if it is still a desire of my heart, then I understand, okay, now I need to be in the right position, and the time will come to pass once again for me to receive this desire that the Lord has given me, okay? Because He does give us the desires of our heart. As we draw closer to Him, He will change our desires. So if this is still a desire in my heart, then I will be able to see that manifested for me. And even with the belief, again, it's an opportunity for me to draw closer to Him, learn His character, which will in turn grow my belief, and it'll cause me to have prolonged faith, right? So even if I see something crazy, I know Him. I know He is not a man that He should lie, that if He has given me a promise, then it will come to pass. And I just, I stand on it. So yeah, that's all I got, family, for this video. I love you guys. As always, I'm praying for you. And if this was a blessing to you, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I will be back when our Father sends me with another conversation. Did I even give a title to this? I don't even know if I gave a title. I don't think I did. This video was, Dad said, I'm waiting on you. He's waiting on us, family, to get in position at the right time and to believe that His promises are coming to pass. Again, I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.